what one faction-only upgrade card would you want to allow for any faction, or even just your faction of choice, if
Hmm.
you're greedy?
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
Well, I'll take a swing at it. Um, almost a little variation on the question because I like the question, but I think that I would go the opposite, and I would say what card or what captain or pilot I would choose to not be in a faction and be in a different one. Um, and I think that what I would choose would be to have Boba Fett. Boba Fett's the pilot of the Fire Spray, and originally he was in the Imperial Navy. He could be
Hmm.
an Imperial choice, and I it was cool, but I never loved that because when it comes right down to it, he's technically not at all like Imperial. And I get that Darth Vader likes to hire him for different bounty missions, but I thought that when Scum and Villainy came out and they had a dedicated Boba Fett card there, I thought that was perfect. I thought that was a much better use of him as a pilot, and more. It felt more like the lore. It didn't just feel like, oh, let's find a way to throw Boba Fett into the game. Let's put him on the Empire side. So for
So,
me, I
so
think
Jake
mhm,
the Break wants to take away.
I want to take away. That's right. I want to put the brakes on Boba Fett. I want to put the brakes on him. He shouldn't be in two different factions. I want him only for Scum and Villainy. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good. All right, way to flip the question. Um, let's go. Let's go to you, Phil. What do
Um,
you say? What?
I'm thinking fleet officer, which is a Imperial only crew. I'm not really sure why only Imperials can get fleet officers. Uh, I
Oh,
would think
come
that
on! These guys are trained officers. They've gone to
you
the,
know,
the academy. They've got handbooks and
yeah, but the
stuff. You know,
rebels have military personnel. I guess it makes sense that the scum wouldn't have access to like a fleet officer, but the
Well,
rebels
heck,
had
I mean,
a real fleet.
yeah. Plus, I mean, if you think about it, anyone for Scum, anyone can be bribed, and maybe a fleet officer is disgruntled because he's not getting a good paycheck, so he turns to Scum. And with rebels, it's just defection, or
Yeah, it
rebellion.
certainly fits with any faction if you just give it a little bit of thought. So
Yeah, I could get on
yeah,
board with that, Phil.
oh,
Yeah.
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 I don't know. Look, you've got some mining, shipping, mining company shipping coordinator, and this is day job, and all of a sudden he's now working for the rebels because his moon got
Yeah,
blown up or something. You
yeah, but
know,
you're well.
some liberal plot, whatever.
Yeah, but the defector is
He
the perfect example, though. I think a defector fleet officer makes sense.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd like to see like an Imperial defector
defector
crew.
maybe.
You know.
It would have to be defector because these guys are trained. They're not just like, yeah, I've been working for the union for 20 years. No, these guys are trained. They've got handbooks. They do maneuvers. But their
Yeah,
fleet
but like
officers, I think, are a bit more.
a ton of rebel pilots are defectors anyway, though. I mean,
That's true. Yeah. I mean, heck,
if you dig into the
Wedge.
backstories, yeah,
Yeah, Wedge Antilles. He was Imperial for a while.
Wedge, Biggs, other
That's
guys
right.
in the
Yeah,
Right.
I think
Yeah.
he's
I
actually
think
going to
West
be in
Jansen.
the Rebels TV show. He's going to defect in the Rebels TV series.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Sabine was in Imperial Academy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's tons.
Good. All right. Approved.
All
Approved,
right.
Phil.
All right. Okay, so J-Bot, you have one.
I'm gonna go Jake's route and make a little bit of a twist on this. I personally think that the illicit upgrade, just as a whole, needs to be available, not to the Imperial faction, but at least to certain ships on the Republic faction.
Like
Um,
say freighters, like the YT-1300.
right, yeah, to ships that fit as in a sense in the lore. Like, wait a minute, Han's ship kind of fits the whole.
Mm,
It should have illicit
Mm,
abilities.
mm,
yeah.
Any of the freighters, any of the kind of, I was kind of thinking anything that kind of spans the gap between scum. So I could see it not so much as a specific put it on the card, but at least as an ability, like a rebel only upgrade card, like a modification. If that makes sense.
What would you call it?
I don't know, illicit modification.
Listen, maybe like something like a compartment in which they could smuggle
Possibly,
illicit stuff in. The smuggling
possibly.
compartment. That
Smuggling
sound?
Possibly.
compartment.
But
Would
for
that be
me, it
good?
would be something that does not take a modification slot, if that makes
Ah,
sense.
that's a good idea. So maybe
Okay.
like a modification that let you
Hmm.
take an illicit upgrade and then another modification.
Yeah, it does sound familiar,
That
doesn't it?
sound?
That's not more than 3 points.
Well, yes, exactly. So basically, what I'm saying is they finally did what I wanted them to do. That's what it sounds like. But to me, it's limited though. It's limited by the point cost. I don't think there is anything that's above 3 yet, is there? Or if there's something that's really big and it's
Well,
not.
it
Engine
keeps you from
upgrade is the
taking
big
engine
one.
upgrade. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Engine upgrade, shield upgrade. Those are 4 points.
Yeah. Mostly engine upgrade.
No,
So,
I was thinking. I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. But for me, it just fits too much, like to have not have it. And I know it was added late. It was added after the some of the existing ships on the rebel side were there. The obvious ones, the Headhunter, the Hawks, and the Y-wings.
yeah.
But
I mean,
to me, it almost is like it just makes sense as something that you should be able to add specifically to those without really killing the ship in any way.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be a limitation on it, just because you're paying the cost anyway, and it fits lore wise. So
I think a lot more rebels should have access to that sort of thing. Like
Well,
I think
like a Hawk, maybe.
yeah, I think the Hawks should probably have access to illicit slots, and I think that it would be good to have, say, maybe even some certain X-wing pilots have access to illicit upgrades. Like in the old EU, you had this squadron called a Wraith Squadron, and they were sort of a black ops squad for the Alliance, and they got into all sorts of tricky business, and they were very deceptive. And I think that if you had like a Wraith Squadron pilot with an illicit slot on that X-wing, that would be good. Also, in the upcoming Rogue One movie, we know that there are these sort of rebel-aligned partisans who had more, who had like very rough tactics, who were more closer to terrorists than the rebels are in the movies.
Right.
And it might be interesting to give those an illicit slot for flavor to show that they're more edgy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Cool.
the
All
thing
right.
that's interesting to me about it, just in general, is that they could add that just with the pilot card specific. I mean,
Sure.
Simply it's, hey, you've already got the X-wing, but the pilot card specifically has that separate upgrade on it, and you're not really making any major change to it. It's just like I said, it's a card that's it, not the whole ship.
And they've
So,
already reprinted the same pilot on a different
yeah,
card with a
they've
very slight
proven
change.
they've proven already that they're willing to do that with the aforementioned Boba Fett, with
And also with Poe Dameron and Slow
right.
Poe.
Yep, and
Yep,
Han
Han
obviously.
Solo and Chewbacca.
So they're obviously willing to re-release a card, so you have it as either essentially as the same exact pilot as a second option. And I know we're going around the world a bit, but I'm honestly surprised they've never re-released like just a single pack of the Hawk, but for Scum, like a repaint of the Scum with that kind of thing. Like you could easily say, here's a repainted Hawk, and it comes with 2 Rebel pilots with the slightly modified cards, and like 2 Scum pilots with or 2 brand new Scum pilots, for example. That way you kind of get the best of both worlds. But yeah, certainly that. Obviously that the card exists. I just don't like the limit on it because I feel like it should have already been there.
Right. All right, that's a good answer. I'll go with that. And I think for mine, I like fearlessness. I think it's a really cool card, and I don't think it should be just Scum. Like I get that it came out with the Fang Fighter, and it's kind of meant to go with the Fang Fighter, but other ones are going to use it. And okay, yeah, it is kind of an edgy, cool card, but I think there are a lot of other pilots and other factions that would like to use fearlessness. That would be pretty cool. I think X-Wings would love it.
Mm-hmm. Jousting X-Wings
Or even
goes back to the good old days.
TIE Fighters,
Absolutely,
that's
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine Darth Vader with fearlessness and advanced targeting computers. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it would fit Darth Vader for sure.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kid. It'd be scary
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Roll 2 dice, add a crit and a hit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, okay.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help us continue improving and expanding our channel's content.